Hi everyone, this is Miss Martinez and today we're going to review how to add and subtract mixed numbers and fractions. But before we dive into that, I think it's important that we review what a fraction is and what a mixed number represents. So, what is a fraction? A fraction is part of a whole. And what does that look like in real life? So for example, if I buy a cake, I have one whole or one entire cake. If I cut it into pieces, each of those pieces are part of the whole or the whole cake. When I'm writing a fraction, I represent it by using two numbers. The top number is called the numerator, and the bottom number is called the denominator. What does the denominator represent? The denominator, or the bottom number, represents the total pieces that make the whole. When I look at this example, the 2, or the denominator, represents the fact that I cut my whole cake into two pieces. My numerator is the number of pieces I have. So if I go back to my cake example, it means that I had one out of the two slices of cake. That means I ate one out of the two slices of cake. I gave away one out of the two slices of cake. With that said, let's talk about a mixed number. What is a mixed number? A mixed number is represented by a whole number and a fraction. In this case, I have 3 and a half. So if I have 3 and a half, it means that I ate 3 cookies and part of a cookie. It means that I ate more than 3 cookies, but less than 4. It means that I ate 3 entire cookies and 1 out of the 2 pieces that make up the 4th cookie. So now that we've reviewed a little bit of what it looks like or what it means to be a fraction and a mixed number, let's talk about how to add and subtract them. In this case, I am adding 7 3/4, which is my mixed number, plus 1/4, which is my fraction. Because I'm adding, because I'm putting together, because I am combining, I can add the whole number and the whole number, which in this case is nothing, and my fraction and my fraction. So I add 7 plus nothing, which gives me 7, and 3/4 plus 1/4, which gives me 4/4. And let's talk about a little bit about the fraction within my sum or my answer. How did I get 4/4? When I add 3/4 plus 1/4, my denominator stays the same. It is my numerator, the one that I combine or add. And I like to use the example of my class when I'm explaining why. I have 24 students. If I have 2 at home, I have 2 out of the 24 at home. And 22 out of the 24 in my class. However, if they're all present, if I combine those 2 plus 22, I still have 24 students total. I now have 24 out of 24. My total does not change because I put the pieces together. That's one thing to remember about adding fractions. The second thing I should notice about my answer is that my fraction has the same numerator and denominator. Remember, my denominator represents the total pieces that make the whole, and my numerator represents the pieces that I have. So if I have all the pieces, if my numerator and denominator are the same, I have one whole. So before I move on, before I go to the next problem, I make sure to convert my 4/4 into 1. Therefore, I add 7 plus 1, which equals 8. The sum of 7 3/4 plus 1/4 is 7/4, which is the same as 8. Let's try a second one. The second problem has 8 3/4 plus 2/4. And again, I'm adding and I'm combining, therefore I can add the whole number plus the whole number, or in this case, 8 plus nothing, and the fraction plus the fraction. 8 plus nothing equals 8, and 3/4 plus 2/4 equals 5/4. I'm not done. Why? Because I should notice that my numerator, which represents the pieces I have, is bigger than my denominator, which is the pieces that make the whole. If I have more pieces that make the whole, it means that I have more than one whole. So I have to then break up or decompose that fraction. So once again, I ask myself, what fraction with a denominator of 4 equals 1? If I have all my pieces, which are 4, then my numerator should be 4. 4/4. But I cannot forget that 4/4 plus 1/4 equals my original 5/4. Next step is to combine my 4/4, which is the same as 1, plus the whole number I already had, which is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. And I make sure not to forget the remainder fraction, which is 1/4. Therefore, when I add 8 and 3/4 plus 2/4, I get a sum or an answer of 9 and 1/4. Now let's review subtracting mixed numbers or whole numbers minus a fraction. In this example, I have 2 minus 1/3. And I want to go back to real life. Let's say I have 2 cookies, but I want to give you or my friend or anyone 1/3 of a cookie, meaning a fraction of 1. In order to be able to do that, I have to break up one of the cookies I have. So I ask myself, what fraction equals 1 with a denominator of 3? So if 3 pieces make the whole, then 1 equals 3/3. And 3/3 or 1 plus 1 will get me the original 2. So in order to subtract 2 minus 1/3, I convert my 2 into a mixed number of 1 and 3/3. 1 and 3/3 minus 1/3 equals 1 2/3. Therefore, the difference between 2 and 1/3 is 1 and 2/3. Let's do a second example. 8 4/12 minus 9/12. So now I have a mixed number minus a fraction. I have to check that the fraction in my mixed number is bigger than the fraction I'm taking away. 4/12 is smaller than 9/12, so I cannot just subtract 8 minus nothing and fraction minus fraction. So I go back and I think, what can I do to help me subtract? And I remember that I know that I can convert my whole number into a mixed number. And I ask myself, what fraction with a denominator of 12 equals 1? And I know that it's 12/12. Why? Because if I have all my pieces, I have one whole. So 8 becomes 7 12/12, which remember is the same as 8. But I'm not done. I cannot forget that I had 8 and 4/12. Therefore, I combine the 12/12 and the 4/12. 8 and 4/12 becomes 7 and 16/12. Now, my first fraction is bigger than my second fraction, and I can subtract whole number minus nothing and fraction minus fraction. 7 minus nothing is 7, and 16/12 minus 9/12 equals 7/12. Therefore, the answer to my subtraction problem, the difference is 7 and 7/12. So that's the end of our review of addition and subtraction of mixed numbers and fractions. I hope it really helped you, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.